Welcome back to another episode of Economics by Liam, dedicated to simplifying complex ideas. In this episode, we are looking at Australia's New Year's celebrations and the impact on the local economy. As the world begins to ring in the new year, Australia is one of the first major economies in the world to celebrate this occasion. From London to New York and every city in between, the new year is celebrated with fireworks, champagne, and a range of other local celebrations. Sydney is known to have some of the most iconic fireworks displays for the new year. With the backdrop of both the Sydney Harbour Bridge and the Sydney Opera House, these iconic Australian landmarks help create a New Year's celebration that is second to none. So what are the costs in running one of the most iconic fireworks shows of the year, and what are the benefits? The cost for this can be analysed from 4 different perspectives: the fireworks cost, the logistical costs, the opportunity costs, and the social costs. While Sydney's firework display puts Australia on the global stage for New Year's Eve, it is largely funded by the New South Wales taxpayer. The cost of the fireworks themselves for the 2022 celebration has been estimated to cost around $7 million. This is split between the 2 fireworks shows that occur both the 9 o'clock and the midnight. $7 million might seem like a lot of money, however, for a public event that draws an estimated 1.6 million attendees, this costs the taxpayer only $4.38 for every person in attendance. This does not consider the millions across the globe who will also watch the fireworks streamed to devices and TVs. While the cost of the fireworks themselves may be small, there is a lot of auxiliary costs which are often ignored. For the New South Wales Government to run an event of such magnitude, the additional public staff that are required, from police officers to train drivers, in numbers that far exceed any other night of the year. It would not be possible to calculate the number of staff involved in both New Year's Eve, from planning, running and clean-up. The labour requirements are as big as the show itself. With the New Year's hangover comes the New Year's clean-up bill. In 2016, the cost of rubbish disposal fees amounted to around $300,000. This cost was just for one local government area, the City of Sydney, that encompasses a large percentage of the vantage points for the fireworks. However, it's not the only local government region that attendees are provided with a brilliant view for the fireworks display. One of the most expensive parts of the celebration is the public transport cost to the New South Wales Government. Given it is estimated that 1.6 million people will attend this year's fireworks, public transport will play a pivotal logistical role in ensuring the new year is celebrated in style. There are thousands of extra bus services for New Year's Eve and into the new year, as well as train, ferry and light rail, all working extra hours to move a large proportion of the New South Wales population. The public transport costs are shared between both those using the service and the taxpayer. Like in every other state in Australia, public transport is heavily subsidised. In the 2017-2018 financial year, the New South Wales Government provided almost $3 billion of subsidy towards public transport. On a per-day rate, this amounts to just over $8 million. This obviously is going to be disproportionately higher on New Year's Eve given the extra services that are run. So what's the opportunity cost of these fireworks? From the costs that we've calculated so far, there is $7 million for the fireworks, $8 million in public transport subsidies, and additional clean-up costs into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, as well as an unknown amount of staffing costs for the event. So it's easy to assume that based on the information that we do have, that the New South Wales Government, combined with the local governments, will spend more than $16 million for the iconic Harbourside fireworks. This wouldn't be an economic review without considering the opportunity cost of this spending. The questions that need to be answered are: what other public services are not being fulfilled because the government is allocating $16 million in this area? Could this money be used in better places, such as more spending on healthcare, extra teachers in schools, or other social services? These are just some of the alternatives, and whether the limited public resources could be better used in these areas is a question that needs to be answered. It's also important to consider some of the social costs that arise from the fireworks display. The most obvious issue with the fireworks comes from the air pollution. The cost to society for increased air pollution is not only an environmental cost, but also creates additional costs to the healthcare system, as poor air quality creates a host of medical-related issues. The social costs of the fireworks has some groups wishing for the display to be transformed from a fireworks-based display into a drone-based light event, therefore reducing the air pollution. We've considered the cost of the fireworks, so now let's consider some of the benefits. Sydney's fireworks can be enjoyed from many different locations across the harbour and foreshore. The New South Wales Government since 2011 has sold tickets to some of the most prime spots. For the 2022 fireworks, there are almost 45,000 tickets, and the cost range varies drastically depending on the vantage point. However, some people are paying up to $600, with the cheapest tickets costing as low as $40. It's not exactly clear how much revenue the New South Wales Government does generate from these ticket sales, given that we do not have an average ticket price. Let's just assume that the average price ends up being $50. That means that the government is getting an estimated $2,250,000 in revenue from ticket sales for the event. With revenue being a direct benefit that the government receives, there are some indirect benefits that are more complex to calculate. Sydney's fireworks are projected across the world. These glistening images of Australia's iconic locations are shown to all corners of the world. And it's easy to assume that this only helps generate tourism both locally and internationally. There's many economic benefits to increased tourism, such as increased sales for businesses, more employment, and greater revenue for the government. These indirect benefits Australia receives from the fireworks from tourism alone could be enough to offset the entire cost to the taxpayer. There are many businesses that thrive due to the New Year's event, especially those located in prominent locations by the harbour. These businesses can charge premium prices based on the demand that is generated from the event. The government also benefits from these premium prices, which are captured through our taxation system in many such ways, such as GST, which is a form of sales tax. Some estimates put the benefit of the fireworks as high as $133 million to the entire economy. There are many social benefits to Sydney's firework display. The event's significant following not only locally but internationally helps create a sense of national pride as key Australian landmarks are on display for the world. There are also social benefits derived from people's happiness and enjoyment of the event. These benefits are very complex to measure and place monetary value on. There are few places in the world that are lucky enough to have such iconic landmarks, combined with a New Year's firework show that rivals that of Sydney. Whilst there are many costs to this, there are also many benefits. It's complex to figure out the total costs, especially when you consider the cost of society. It's also equally difficult to figure out the benefits. However, if you consider the total benefit to the economy based on some estimates of being close to $133 million, the benefits seem to clearly outweigh the cost in this case.